Good morning. It's Tuesday, October 14th, turnaround Tuesday, that is. I'm Phil Streible, Chief Market Strategist at Blue Line Futures. So there'll be no Metals Minute here tomorrow. I'll be traveling to New York. I'll be joining Yahoo Finance in studio covering the precious metals markets, and then on the floor of the NYSE with the Schwab Network the following day. My partner Bill Baruch will be on the Compound and Friends. That's the #1 financial news podcast that's out right now, hosted by Josh Brown. So I ran an FX model here on the silver forecast using the Bloomberg terminal, where we looked at a one standard deviation and we forecasted a model distribution here of analyst estimates. And what I saw was that the 1 week probable range on the silver market, 47.86 on the downside, 54.42 on the upside. You go out to a 1 month, it's about a 73.9% chance of a 43.72 on up to 56.45. What I did notice though was that the farther out you went, that the lower low was in place. So is the model here predicting that the LME squeeze runs out of steam and those problems are resolved as they do start to get more silver bullion from China, from the US on some of these outflows, alleviating some of that silver squeeze? Now you look at some of the top headlines here. Stock futures, they are lower after China hit back with the U.S. with shipping curbs. So you see the S&P 500 down about 1.15%, sitting at 66.16. You also have the NASDAQ down about 1.5%. You look at the copper market dropping back below $5 at 4.96, and the cryptocurrencies and the energy markets under significant pressure. We will have bank earnings coming out today with a clear market direction for later. You're going to see Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan all reporting. You'll also have Fed Chairman Powell. He's due to speak with commentary on crucial hard evidence here as far as are they going to come out and are they going to continue to cut rates, because he does get some privy as far as what some of this data is showing here that we're not able to see with this government shutdown. Now in other assets, cryptocurrencies, they're continuing to lose ground here on a historic round of liquidation that triggered a sharp sell-off over the weekend, with Bitcoin falling about 3-4% right now and actually dipping a little harder here, just under about 5%. So a big sell-off across the board in the cryptocurrencies. You're also seeing energy prices falling about 2.5%, with crude oil futures down $1.50 at the moment. You look at the checklist here for the pulse of the market trends in the FX rundown. The dollar index continuing to push up 99.16 here. And you look at the dollar, remember the dollar is a basket against 6 other weighted currencies, with the biggest one being the euro currency, 57.6%, the yen 13.6%, and the pound 11.9%. You look at the pound here down about 0.5% as the UK unemployment data rose to 4.8%. That's the highest since May of 2021, and we're seeing wage growth slow to 4.4% in 3 months through August here. So it's spurring some of the rate cut bets here. You go over to Europe and Asia with these trade tensions here escalating. European stocks fell after China upped that ante in its trade dispute with the U.S., with miners and also automakers here leading to declines. You go to Asian stocks, they're falling here, with again the trade tensions, the frictions, as well as losses in Japan, where some political uncertainty really dragged those shares lower after their long weekend. The MSCI index, Asia Pacific index, fell about 1.5%, its third straight day of decline. So again, earnings, BlackRock, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, Johnson & Johnson, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, they're all here set to report before the market opens. Citigroup's expected to beat earnings estimates. Goldman Sachs should see a sizable top line driven beat. And then if you look at the economic data coming out, we did have that NFIB small business optimism that came out here as I was doing the reporting, but really no really rally or anything in the Russell 2000, so we got to keep an eye on that. You look at the CME's Fed Watch Tool, 97.8% chance of a 25 basis point interest rate cut. Then you look at the ETF flows, because these have been one of the main drivers here of the precious metals markets. Gold up 17% year to date here. It's sitting at 97.5 million ounces, the highest level since September 27th, 2022. Gold is up about 57%, but the exchange traded funds, they only added about 8,400 ounces yesterday, and they actually cut some of their silver holdings here down 392,000 ounces. And you look at palladium, it increased 2,400 ounces for the 11th straight day. So the gold silver ratio just dropped below 82-1. You do have silver here up 31 cents at 50.74. Again, wide range overnight. You're going to expect to see these ranges get more volatile here as emotions tend to drive this market, especially around some of these big hold numbers and sizable numbers that we've been watching since 2011, that $50 range here, where the market just coupling back and forth. So So you guys got any questions, shoot an email to info@bluelinefutures.com. Remember, futures and option trading does involve risk of loss. May not be suitable to all investors. Good luck, good trading.